Welcome back. In this video, we're going to expand on our levels. We're going to create a couple new levels. We're going to create a level manager and start working on some scene transitions. So I am going to build a couple levels out, but I'm going to save you guys the time and I'm going to just put this in a time lapse. If you want to follow along, you definitely can, or you can download these levels from the GitHub repo. So it doesn't matter what your levels look like. The most important thing is that you have, I would suggest 3 so that you could follow along so that we'll be able to transition between a few of them. And the first thing that we need to do in order to kind of have a more natural game flow is we actually want to go down to our main menu scene and we want to set this as the main scene. So now whenever we hit this play button, it's just going to default to this main, okay? It's also going to be important that all of your levels, regardless of what they look like, are going to have the level GD script attached to it. We're going to need that because we class name these all levels and we're going to be referring to them inside of our level manager. So now we're going to make the level manager. It's going to be another global script. So let's go create this real quick. Let's set up our script. It can just be a regular node in the globals class. We do want to give it a name of level manager. Okay, let's open this up. We're not going to give it a class name because what we are going to do is go into our project settings, add it to our globals, and let's find it, level manager, add it. We're going to put this to the top because we do want levels to be loaded before our player. Now that that's in our globals, let's build this out. So we're going to be adding 2 signals to our level manager. The first one is going to be level load started, and our other signal is going to be level load finished. We're going to have 2 variables, which is going to be the current level, which is of type level, and next level, which is of type level. And that's why it's important that you're assigning the level GD script to each of our level scenes. And we're going to have several functions in here. I'm just going to put them all as template functions right now. We're going to build them out, but just so you can see what we're going to be trying to build out, we're going to have a ready function. Okay. We're going to have a function called change level, which is going to take in a level path. Again, this is going to be a string. It's not going to return anything. We're also going to have is valid level path, which takes in a level path of string. This is going to return a bool. We're going to have load new level, which takes in a level path of string. Let's spell this correctly though. And this is going to return a level. We're going to have an add new level, which is void, and restart current level. Okay, now we have the basis of this setup. Let's get rid of this debugger so we have more space to view it. Let's set this up. Okay, so our ready method is going to be pretty simple. we're just going to have two lines in here. The first one is going to be await get tree dot process frame. And this is going to ensure that all other nodes in the scene are properly initialized before anything else is happening in our level manager. And then we're going to emit our level load finished signal. This is just going to notify other parts of our game that a level is ready for interaction. In our change level method, the first thing we're going to be do is checking if not is valid level path. We're going to pass it in our level path, which we will build out this function shortly. We're going to return. So if we're looking to change a level and we don't give it a valid path, nothing's going to happen. So this is just another safety check for us. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pause the game. Okay. We don't want to have anything really running during our scene transition, our level transitions. Okay. And then we're going to emit our level load started signal. After that, we're going to loop through the children and get tree, the root, and then get all the children inside of that. This is going to loop through all of our root nodes. And if any of them are levels, we're going to queue them free. So we're going to more or less get rid of our existing level while we're doing this. We're going to await get tree dot process frame, just like in our ready method. And if not, next level. So if there isn't a next level, we're going to print an error message to our console. This is just going to be a safety check for us. Failed to load the level. Then we're going to give it the level path. Get tree dot paused equal to false, and then we're going to return. And if child is level, if not child is levels. Okay. After that, we're going to do add new level, which is we're going to build that out as well. Then we're going to get tree dot paused equals false, and then the level load finished dot emit. So we're just going to let the game know that our level load is complete. And if not next, we want next level. Okay. Great. All right, is valid level path. Again, need to spell this correctly. And what we're going to do here is if not level path, so if we're not getting a level path or not file access dot file exists file path. Level path, sorry. We're going to do another print error. Invalid level path. Level path. And then we're going to return false. Otherwise, we can return true. So if we're not giving it a level path, or the path that we give doesn't lead us to an actual file, then we're not going to return. We're going to return false, so it's not a valid level. In our load new level, we're going to create a new variable, which is going to be a level scene. And it's going to equal load on our level path as a packed scene. Okay. Then if it's not a level scene, so if we don't get one, we're returning null. Otherwise, we get a new variable of instance, which is going to equal our level scene. Instantiate, so we're instantiating a new level as a level. If not instance, return null. Otherwise, we're going to return our instance, which should be a level. Okay. In add new level, we're going to get tree, the root. We're going to add a child to it, which is going to be our next level. And our current level is going to equal our next level. And that reminds me, I don't think I actually set the initial next level. You need to go back up to if not next level here. before this, we need to do next level is going to equal our load new level path. Okay. So now our next level, we're going to load this, pass in the level path, and go through this setup here. Restart current level. All we're going to do is check if current level. We're going to change level, and then give it our current level dot scene file path, which is a built-in Godot method. So this is our base setup for our level manager. Again, if we play our game, nothing's going to happen. We don't have this doing anything with this yet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create the ability for us to transition between levels. So I'm not going to start on our test level. We're going to do something a little bit different for that when we navigate between our test level and our first real level. But in level 1, we are going to need to make a new node of a type area 2D. Okay. And we're going to rename this to be called level transition. And we're not going to, we need to give it a collision shape, but we're not going to give it one right now. We're going to do that in each scene. It might look a little bit different, but you're going to have to set one up. We are going to attach a script to it though. Let's actually save this, and we are going to put this in our scenes. This is just going to be our basic level transition here. So we're just going to do this. We're going to attach a script to it as well. We'll call it that. We are going to give this a class name of level transition. Okay. And the one thing that we're going to give it is an export variable, or sorry, it's going to be an export file, which is something that we haven't used before. And we want to make sure that any file that we're giving it is going to be of a scene file, of scene file type, which is the .tscn. We're going to call this next level path, and it's going to be a string. Okay, we don't need a ready function, but what we are going to do is give this an onBodyEntered method. So when a body enters it, we want to do something. This is going to be pretty simple. We're going to do if body is player and next level path. So if both of these conditions are met, we're going to tap into our level manager. We're going to change the level to the next level path. So we can actually see this in action right now. So let's go to level 1. We are going to drag a level transition into our level. I'm going to give it a collision shape. Okay. It's going to be of a type, or of a shape. We'll give it a rectangle. Oh, I don't want it to look like that. We're going to just, I'm just going to make it big right now just to demonstrate. We're just going to make it so when he gets to the end of the level, he's going to automatically transition. Okay. So in here, we need to give it the next level path. So I'm going to be able to find, I'm going to click this here. We're going to go to our scenes, go to our levels, and I'm going to give it level 2. Okay. Let's hit save. We need to also make sure that our level transition is on the right collision node. So we're actually going to go back to our level transition here, and we're going to make sure that it has a mask. It's just looking for our player. Okay. So now we should be able to run this. Let's run this level. Let's actually run it with the debug collision shapes just so we can see what I want you to see. So let's get to the end of the level here. Now I walk into that transition immediately in the next level. Okay, so that's one way that we can do our transitions. You can see though also that that was pretty, not harsh, right? But it was instant. It was instantaneous. There was no actual transition. It was just, we were in level 1, now we're immediately in level 2. So what we can do there is we're going to create what we're going to call a scene transition. Okay, and it's going to do a slight fade in and fade out effect so that we have a more gentle scene transition. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup first because I realized I didn't put these level transitions in our levels folder. I'm actually going to make another folder inside of our levels. Just call it levels again. I want to just separate our generic level stuff and transitions from our actually built out levels. I'm going to make sure that this has the proper path now. I'm going to redrag in level 2. Okay. So now we're going to want to make something else inside of our level folders. We're going to make this a new scene, call it scene transition. And we're going to want this to be of the type canvas layer. Let's read. Yeah, we have this name as transition. We're going to need an animation player. And then inside of that, we're going to need a color rect. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to make it a full rect. And then we're also going to give it a color of just completely transparent. So right off the bat, we don't want it to block any color. So it's going to start from clear, fade to a black, and then as the level loads, it's going to go black and then back to clear. And we're going to handle that. Since this is going to be an overlay on top of our game, we need to adjust one more property under mouse here. In filter, we want to ignore. This is just going to allow our mouse clicks to go through our scene transitions. Otherwise, they're just going to get blocked here. So if you hover over this, you can see that when we're clicking on the ignore, this control won't receive any mouse input events. So nothing, if this was overlaid over our level and we were clicking around, if we didn't put ignore on here, none of our clicks are going to translate through this transition. It's going to effectively act as a blocker for our mouse clicks. So this is very important for this to work. Now we can move to set up our animations inside of our animation player. So we're going to start with a new animation and call it fade out. And we're going to go to our color rect and we're going to key this in. So our default, as you can see in our reset, is going to it's going to be just clear, or you can see right through it. We're going to make this 0.5. This is what I have found that looks the best. And then we are going to go to the end of it. We're going to insert a key, and in here we're just going to go to black. That didn't save, okay? But we want the alpha to not be at 0. We want it to actually be dark black. So you can see what it's looking like here, right? If you play it. Now we're just going to duplicate this. Call it fade in. And let's just swap these. So this is now going to be dark black. And then this is just going to be see-through. All right, let's save that. So that's all that we have to do inside of our scene, but we do need to make a script for this as well. So let's call this a class name, scene transition, that extends a canvas layer. We're going to have an onReady variable of our animation player. In our ready function, we're going to do something that we've done in the past, where the process mode is going to equal the node.process mode always. And then we're going to have two methods. We're going to have func fade out and func fade in. And these are actually going to return a bool. Okay. So we're going to do animation player dot play fade out. We're going to await until the animation player animation finished. Dot animation finish. And then we can return true. And we are more or less going to do the same thing here, except we're going to fade in. And that's all that we have to do for the scene transition script. Actually, I lied. This is also going to be a global script. Sorry. So we don't want to give this a class name. So let's save that. Let's go back into our project settings. In here, we're going to add another global. And I know this isn't going to be in our globals folder, but this is going to be a global. load the scene transition. Okay, add. And that's fine for it to be the last one in our globals. So now we can go back to our level manager script, and we're going to be able to tweak our change level so that we can actually start using these scene transitions. So after we level load started, we're going to do an await scene transition dot fade out. Okay. So this is going to initiate our fade out method. And then after we add the new level, we're going to do another await scene transition dot fade in. Okay. Now let's go back and play our level 1. Let's play this. All right, that's a much cleaner scene transition. I think that looks a lot better. It's less harsh. It's more, I think, what you would normally see in games. You can obviously tweak the time if you like. 0.5 is just the time that I chose for our scene transition, but you can obviously do whatever you'd like with that. I think along with our level manager, we're also going to make an audio manager. So this is just going to keep giving our game a little bit more life. So we want to go up, and this is going to be another global script. So let's go up to our globals folder, and let's add a new script and call it audio manager. Okay. Let's go in here. We're going to extend node. That's fine. So to start this, we're going to set up a few constants. These are the values that I have found that worked well for me. Again, you can tweak them to your liking, but these are just values that I found that worked well. So we're going to create a minimum volume dB of type float. It's going to equal -40. Another constant of max volume dB. It's going to be a float. That's going to equal 0.0. We're going to create a variable of music player, and it's going to be of type audio stream player. And we're going to have 3 methods off the bat. So we're going to have func already. We're going to have func initialize music player. It's not going to return anything. And then we're also going to have a play music method. Inside of play music, we're going to have a stream, which is of type audio stream. And then we're going to have a start position, which is a float. And we're going to default it to 0.0. So what this is going to do is, if you're not familiar with this, is if this is an optional variable for the play music method. So if we don't pass in anything in the second position in this method, it's going to just default to 0, which is going to be the start of any music track, which I think is fine. And in our ready method, we're going to do process mode is going to equal to node process mode always. Again, this is something that we want always happening. Then we're going to initialize our music player, and then we're going to play music. So right now we don't have a stream. So I'm going to make another constant up at the top. I'm just going to call this background music. And it's going to be of type audio stream, which is exactly what our method was expecting down here. And this asset is going to be inside of the music folder in our assets. So we're going to have a music folder. And all we're going to be doing is we want to preload it. So all we have to do is drag the file that we're going to be using. I'm going to rename this to background music. And this file is set up to automatically loop, which is exactly what we want. Let's go back to our audio manager. So if I double click on this background music and then I go to import, you can see in our loop mode, we have it's detecting from wave, our wave file, this is a looping background music. So that's all it's going to do. So let's just click and drag and put it in our preload. Great. All right, now that we have our background music set up in the preload, we can now pass it in to the background, or we can pass in background music to our play music method. So I'm going to show you what we want to do here. So we're going to do music player. It's going to equal an audio stream player dot new. So we're going to create a new audio stream player. Now that we've created our music player, what we want to do is we need to assign the music player's bus to our music player, which is back in audio. It's the name of this. Okay. So we click into this bus, you can see that it takes a value, which is going to be a string. Okay, it's the string name of the bus that we want to be using. Then we're just going to add child in our music player. And then in play music, all we have to do is music player dot stream equals stream, which is going to be the background music that we're passing in. And then music player dot play at the start position. And we're not passing in a start position because we want to start at 0. So now if we play, we'll hear it. That's not what we want. So we need to add this as a global script in order for this to actually be playing. So we need to go to our project settings, click on our folder, select the audio manager, make sure you're pressing add. Okay. We're going to put this up right below our level manager. So now if we hit play, we're hearing some music, which is good. I think this is cool. And now we have music throughout our entire game. Let's see how the scene transitions handle this too, because ideally the music doesn't cut or anything. We just want this to be consistent even when we're transitioning levels. Nice. Okay, everything works. You can also play around with the volume that you want. You know, if you think that this is too loud, you could drag this down here and make it lower in the music bus, or you could code it in dynamically. So there's one way that we can do it where I like to have the background music be a little bit lighter than your standard like player sound effects and stuff like that. So let's go back into our audio manager and we're going to make one more method. We're going to call this func adjust music volume, and we're going to pass in a value, which is going to be a float. We're not going to return anything. So all we have to do in this is we have to go into something called audio server dot set bus volume dB, and then we pass it in the index of the bus that we want and then the value. So our bus index for music is 1. We're going to make a new constant, which is going to be our default music volume, and it's going to be a float. And I'm going to set this at -20 right now. Okay. And then we're going to put this down here as our value. Okay. So now when we play this, it should be a little bit lighter. Okay. It wasn't, again, because now we actually have to do this. So we have to adjust the music volume, and we're going to pass in the default music volume. And then that means that we can actually just pass in the value down here. Okay. I don't know if you guys can, I don't know if that's coming through on your end, but on my end, it is a lot lower. You can obviously tweak it to how you like it. And that I think about wraps up this tutorial. In the next video, we're going to work on adding another new enemy type. It's going to be a turret that can shoot projectiles, and then we're going to work on the health bar and some more player UI.